Hello, my name is James Pierre. Today I will be talking about my action research. The title of the research is The Impact of Repeated Reading on Improving Reading Fluency Skills of LD Student. The categories that I will be talking about are the purpose of the research questions, literature review, participants, the data. I'll also be talking about the results of the data, the findings, the limitation, implication, the limitation data. I'll also be talking about future of the research and references. As far as the purpose, since the font size is too small right now, allow me to increase the font size so you guys could be able to see it right quick. Let me put it at 75. Let's see. All right, so we'll start with the purpose. My action research study was conducted over an intensive 8 weeks period at Turner Elementary, and it was specifically designed to address the profound reading fluency deficit identified in three fifth grade students with specific learning disability. All participant students present significant foundational reading challenges evidenced by their performance at phonics level 1 on the iReady diagnostic assessment. My research question, how can repeated reading improve the reading fluency skills of LD students? And I use the literature reviews that I use. I have three specific um, one by the researcher Wanzak and Al in 2014. It say reading fluency is a common deficit for many students, particularly those with learning disability. It is a critical component of literacy, encompassing the ability to read and write, and is essentially for reading comprehension. Reading fluency involve a combination of accuracy, rate, and prosody. Another one said by the National Center for Education Statistics, despite concentrated efforts to develop strong readers, the National Center for Education data revealed that 64% of all fourth graders and 66% of all eighth graders were not reaching proficiency in reading. And the third one, for a student with learning disability, achieving reading proficiency is even more challenging due to difficulties with accuracy, expression, and appropriate speed. Research has also shown that repeated reading intervention are highly effective in significantly improving reading fluency for students with learning disability. So my participant for this research was three fifth graders with specific learning disability, all at phonics level 1, were selected from a reading class of 20 students. These students receive daily 30 minutes pull-out instruction from the ESC resource teacher Monday through Friday. The intervention groups consisted of one African American female, one Hispanic male, and one Caucasian male. As far as data, I use the data for each participant. Figure 1 represent one participant named Jaden. Figure 2 represent Joshua. And figure 3 represent the African American female, Akaya. I will go over those data with you. And figure 4 that figure represent the result that I use from iReady diagnostic and assessment that we use so I could check the level of phonics fluency skills that these participant have, because this iReady take place 3 times a year in August, January, and April. So let's go over the data for the intervention first. Um, the all the figures are 1, 2, and 3. You will see total words correct responses on phonics skills, weekly passages. We had a pre and post test for each participant. With Jaden, again, all those figure has the same title, pre and post test assessment. The the y-axis talk about total words correct, and the x-axis talking about the different weeks, the intervention take place. Blue represent pre-test and the orange represents post-test. Again, the pre-test took place on Monday and the post-test take on Friday. So for Jaden, from week one, you could see those numbers, 91 pre-test, 96 post-test, and you could move all along and you see all the blue pre-test and all the orange post-test. All right, as far as Joshua, again, only thing that changed is the numbers, the title of the figure the same, everything the same, but the pre-test number and the post-test number. Okay. And for Akaya, same thing. Later on, I'll go over their result more in details. As far as figure four, the iReady diagnostic data comparison and growth for all three students. Jaden is in blue, Joshua is in orange, and Akai is in gray. And if you look close at this figure, you will see that Jaden make the most improvement in his iReady starting from August. He had a 423, and in January 480 and April he has 581. That's a big jump. I think that was like 75 point gain. I think 74 point gain. I'll go over it again. And Joshua start with 547 and January 520 and April 483, and it keep decreasing, it keep regressing. Akaya, on the other hand, same as Jaden, keep making progress. 468 when she start her phonics level. All this is phonics level. When she started her phonics level in August, 468 in January, she went up 497. And after we had the intervention, 425 represent April. That's after we finished our series of 8 weeks of intervention. This April was the time that take the last assessment for iReady. Those were those numbers. That's what I was looking for with my research result, with my action research, to see if they make improvement after we finish with the intervention. So only one of them then make improvement is just Joshua, but my other two students make great improvement. So, all right, this was the data. Let's go over let me go over the detail, the result more. In figure one, we'll just look over the first figure, represent participant Jaden. All his post tests were greater than his pre-test. The data also show that Jaden's best weeks of averaging 155 words per minute or more were week 3, 5, 6, and 7. His least number of words per read per minute for pre and post test was in week 8, which was 81.86. He had the highest word count per minute in week 6, 142, which was post-test numbers. Figure two was for Joshua. Again, his post-tests were always greater than his pre-test. So, which means when we read on Monday, the numbers that he has, when we have the post-test assessment on Friday, Friday always showed that he learned, he gained, he gained more words on that Friday more than on Monday. So with Joshua, his best weeks of averaging 125 words per minute was week 6 and 7. His least number of words read per minute for pre and post test was in week 4, 64, and 88. He had the highest word count per minute in week 7, which was 149 as post test. Kaya, which is in figure 3, um, again, her post test was always greater than the pre-test numbers. Her averaging 125 words per minute were in week 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7. She has the most 125 words per minute than her peers. Her last numbers of words, uh, her least numbers of word for pre-test and post-test was in week 8, 92, and 119. She had the highest word count per minute in week 5, 154 for the post-test. And figure 4, which is the iReady diagnostic assessment results. For the third one, we compare compared the growth for those three participant in phonics skills. Like as I mentioned before, the diagnostic is in August, January, and April. And to be on grade level, fifth grade student needs to score 581 to 640. And as you see those numbers, um, let's see. The blue again represents Jaden, red for Joshua, and gray for Kaya. The results for all three assessments show that Jaden has the most growth from 483 in August to 581 in April, a gain of 158 points from August to April. Kaya has the second highest from 468 in August to 535 in April, a gain of 67. Joshua, however, and continued to regress. He had 547 in August, but somehow keep regressing to 483 in April, a decrease of 64 points. The findings. The study data showed that each participant makes significant growth when comparing their pre and post test assessment. And during the 30 minutes intervention for 5 consecutive days, participants had an opportunity to read and listen to the passage aloud 4 times. The interventionist read first, while all three participants took turn reading individually. While reading, unknown vocabulary words and terms were underlined for later definition searches. Character, places, and event in the passage were also discussed daily for further clarification. As far as limitation, there were a few limitations while conducting this research. First, in the last 2 of the 8 weeks of their intervention, the regular daily schedule was changed due to district and state assessment. Consequently, participants could not concentrate on reading the passages as usually due to testing overload. And instead of a full 30 minutes where each participant could take a turn reading aloud, the time was shortened to 20 minutes because of all the movement and schedule change. Participants were rushed to read the passage due to time restriction. So that's how we see in the last 2 weeks, the numbers were lower than the previous weeks as far as the intervention concerned. So now let's move on to implication. After conducting the research study, the results were analyzing graphs showing steady growth when comparing the pre and post assessment. In some weeks, the words correct were higher than in others. Various reasons might explain these results. One reason could be the difficulties level of that specific passage compared to others. Another reason might be how thoroughly the passage was read for the week. Another implication was that one participant, which is Joshua, who showed enough growth during the intervention, but he scored the lowest in phonics skills on his already diagnostic results. The only one that has a regression at all of 64 points. The limitation of data, the data show a noticeable drop in overall performance for Jaden and Joshua in week 7 and 8, but not Akaya, compared to the preceding weeks, due to the regular daily schedule being altered to accommodate district and state assessment. Again, week 7, the data point is 87, which is significantly lower than the values observed in week 3, 113, week 4, 100, week 5, 110, and week 6, 101. Week 8, the data point further decreased to 81, making it the lowest value across all 8 weeks presented in the chart. So as I mentioned before, those 2 weeks, week 7 and 8, that's when we had district assessment, which is the iReady diagnostic was going through our campus from 3rd grade to 6th grade. A lot of movement was going on, schedule changes, recess changes, and everything for those 2 weeks. And I have this figure 5 to show the limitation of data of weeks 7 and 8. You could see those numbers, the limitation of overall data, week 1 through 8. You could see week 1 start with 91 and week 2, 85, 3, 113. Week 4, 100, week 5, 110, week 6, 101, and the last 2 weeks, 87 and 81. For future research, this research study could be extended from 8 to 12 weeks. Also, the research should be conducted with at least 6 participants instead of 3. Also, additionally, it would be beneficial to cancel an intervention session during district and state assessment. And these were the two references that I use um, to talk about this presentation. Again, thank you for reading and watching my presentation. Truly appreciate it. Thank you.